Good morning. I thought I would take you on a little field trip and show you the labyrinth I used to walk when I was involved in spiritual formation. We'll talk a little bit about what it was for me and the origins of the labyrinth and really where it's taking us. So I'm going to turn the camera around. This is what you see as you first walk in. This is kind of giving you an example of how to walk the labyrinth. You become quiet and centered. You see the words. This is a contemplative practice in spiritual formation. And as you can see, there's one way in and then there's one way out. So you don't have to think about walking in the labyrinth. It's not like a maze where you are engaged and thinking and discerning and judging and remembering and that sort of thing. A labyrinth is a contemplative exercise, and basically your frontal lobe is turned off. It's a right brain activity. It's a very slow walk. And in the center over there is really where you are supposed to be communing with God. So these lines represent the layers of life. The labyrinth is really a metaphor for life. So as you're slowly walking the labyrinth, you're thinking of a question you have for God. You are repeating a mantra, whatever that may be for you. For me, it was Jesus. But I usually walk the labyrinth with a prayer in my heart. That's how I did it, right or wrong. That was my intent, but it was very wrong. And so as you walk through the layers of the labyrinth, you're just kind of dropping off the layers of life. And so by the time you hit the center, it's just you and God. There's nothing else really. And you can stay there as long as you like, just soaking in God and His love and whatever He has to tell you. Of course, when you are disengaged in your frontal lobe and you're not praying in accordance with the scriptures, the voice that we hear, the thoughts that are in our minds are not from God. It's a spirit of another. The labyrinth itself is a pagan ritual, and spiritual formation has this great fondness for the ancients. And this is a very ancient practice. It's about 3,500 years old. And witches use the labyrinth. They walk it at night with candles. It's very compelling aesthetically, but it's a gateway to another world. It's a gateway to another experience. This whole thing is based on mysticism, which is an experience. These people are searching for an experience, and that experience to them means they have communed with God. They have heard from God, they have felt God's presence, and so because they have experienced this, it must be so. And we know that that's not true. Native Indians used it, or use it still. They call it the medicine wheel. It's for healing. New Age, the center, the coils, the lines of this it represents a coiled snake, which is the Kundalini, that supposedly is at the base of the spine. And the more you go into self, or the center, and commune with the divine, the more you become divine and you become God. All this leads to pantheism, panentheism, monism, pluralism. The center there is really about communing with God and whoever God is to you. This labyrinth really is one of the great equalizers in that it's an ecumenical tool to bring about ecumenicism and that movement towards one another and back into Catholicism. So, I don't know if you have any questions. I would love to answer your questions. Any comments, they're appreciated. This labyrinth experience can be, or is often brought into churches for church retreats. There'll be a big plastic sheet with these markings or similar type markings on them, and it's offered to the congregation as an experience. Some of the hospitals have them. They'll have a labyrinth garden. Churches have them now. It's really been embraced by the Christian community, and this is really a pagan, Wiccan, spiritualistic practice that for some reason Christians have embraced. I know I embraced it for many years, but I hope that you will not, or if you are, that you will do your own research and come out of this. And I'm grateful that God has brought me out. Let me turn this around. And he says that he will put his glory in us when we come out of such practices. And so I'm grateful for the Holy Spirit that's now accompanying my life, and for the fruits that are being manifested as a result. When I was in this, I had no fruits, no fruit of the Spirit, because there is no Holy Spirit. So how can you have the fruit of the Spirit? So my prayer for you today is that you will be blessed, that you will learn a lot, that you will do your own research, and really learn and go deep into the truths of the Bible, and allow the Holy Spirit to grow you.